Am I the a-hole for doing nothing for the child my ex-wife had from her affair, even now that I have primary custody of our kids? 6 years ago, I, 36 male, learned that my ex-wife, 37 female, was cheating on me. I ended our marriage and filed for divorce, but everything was delayed because she was pregnant. Once her child was born, and it was established that I was not the biological father, my name was removed from the birth certificate and the bio father's name was added. They were a couple at this point. Throughout, we shared 50-50 custody of our 3 children together. My kids were old enough to figure out what happened. I got them therapy eventually, after my ex resisted putting them in therapy, and we had talks about everything. I did my best to reassure them that they didn't need to hate anyone for me or reject anyone on my behalf. But their relationship with their mom never recovered, and the relationship with her youngest never existed from what I know. The affair partner took off 3 years ago, and since then, my ex-wife has requested that I take an active part in her child's life because I'm so involved in our kids' lives. Each and every time she has made this request via the parenting app, I have firmly said no. She tried to take full custody of our kids because I refused to include her youngest, and a judge told her it didn't work like that, and I did not have a legal responsibility to her youngest child. I ended up with primary custody of my children a year ago because my ex-wife made some very bad decisions and not only lost the house she was staying in, but lost her job, had no savings, and overall was left with next to nothing. After this happened, her requests for me to do something for her child increased. I ignored them for the most part and did as I was instructed to do by my lawyer and replied to the ones that indicated I was responsible for ensuring the child was adequately cared for. For those I said no and reminded her there were places she could go if she needed help feeding her youngest. Our kids still must go to her house for her every other weekend visitation, and they hate it, which angers my ex because they have zero relationship with her youngest, and it angers her that I won't ensure that all of the kids have a good relationship, and that her youngest knows what it's like to have a fatherly figure. She said she would allow me to adopt her child if I was willing. Then she said she would at least like me to do something, to express some care for her child, send birthday and Christmas gifts, send food occasionally, offer to let her child join in for some activities. I do none of this. I have asked my kids if they would like to spend more time with their half-sibling or give gifts, but they have always said no, and they told me that when they can make the decision not to go to their mom's house, they won't have anything to do with her child either. My ex has become angrier because there are things her child has missed out on, and apparently, they ask more questions now. Some of her messages on the app are now extremely hostile. There's nothing I can do about this for the moment, but they're saved, so if we end up back in court, they can be shown. She told me I act like I'm such a good person, but I treat a child like crap. I don't feel bad exactly. I know I would have a very hard time being around this child, and they're innocent, so I prefer to stay away and not let them feel the weight of my issues with their mother and how they were conceived. But maybe that makes me an awful person. I know at the end of all this is a child who has only got my ex and nobody else, and the child is innocent like I stated, which brought me here to ask, am I the a-hole? Now for the top comments. Poor kid. You're not the a-hole, and you actively distancing yourself so that kid's not collateral damage is being mindful of the child and that they are innocent in their conception. If wife lost custody of your kids, is other kid in danger too? I think it'll depend on whether she makes more bad choices and leaves them with zero resources and places to go, which I think is possible, but I don't know the workings of her life overall anymore, so maybe she's learning. Not the a-hole. Why are you feeling bad? You did nothing wrong, but you should talk to your lawyer to make her stop harassing you because it will eventually affect your health. Here, everyone on Reddit will agree you did nothing wrong, but her constantly asking you will make you feel guilty. I can't make her stop. My lawyer knows what's going on and we talk, but there's not a whole lot I can do. The app is being monitored, so it's just about when there's enough for it to be an issue for the judge. Let your lawyer drag her back to court for harassment. Not the a-hole. Tell your ex-wife to direct her anger towards her child's father. She's going after the wrong man. She's going after the wrong man because he's the better father. Too bad she didn't know that earlier. F around and find out, I guess. Next story. Am I the a-hole for refusing to work with my ex and telling him I don't need to ask his permission to do things with our son? My ex and I have an 11-year-old son together. We have a 60-40 custody split because of his job requirements. My ex got married 3 years ago, and he has a 10-year-old stepdaughter who lives with him full-time. Our son and my ex's stepdaughter do not get along very well. For a while, my ex and his wife decided to let things develop naturally, but for around a year now, they have grown concerned that the kids have not grown closer and seem to dislike each other more, so they started pushing the kids together more. This is not something I know a lot about. I don't interfere when my son is with his dad, unless it's something harmful to my son, just like I expect him to do the same. Not too long ago, I took my son to see a movie he really wanted to see. It was him and 3 of his friends. We had a great time. My ex flipped when he found out. He told me he had warned the kids they were going to see it together. He told me I should have asked, knowing he was working on their relationship. He said I should be working with him on this. I told him to hold up. I was not about to ask permission to take my son to a movie. He told me that's not working with him, that I should be making sure he doesn't want that saved for a bonding experience with both kids. He said our son manipulated me by not telling me he and his wife were planning to take both kids to that movie. I asked him what our son thought about that, and he admitted our son hadn't wanted to go and had told him as much. He told me they need to do this stuff together, or they'll never try. I told him I do not need to ask his permission to do things with our son, and I will not ask his permission. He accused me of not working with him, that I want their blended family to fail. I don't, but I don't want to deprive our son of fun stuff with me because he wants it to be sacred for his time only. And I don't want our son to be miserable doing all the fun stuff because he's forced to do it with a stepsister he doesn't like. I also think it's crazy to expect me to ask permission, especially when I have our son more. Am I the a-hole? Now for the comments. You absolutely should not have to ask permission to do a normal everyday activity. What next? Check with him before trying a new restaurant that he might have wanted to take him to. Why couldn't he have texted you and let you know that he was planning on taking the kids to such and such place, and would it be okay if he did it and not you? I still would have taken my son to the movie with his friends. Dad's forcing the kids together is only going to make son resent him more. Same for his stepsister. This sort of thing, the forcing, is how parents lose their children the moment they turn 18. Too bad he can't see it. Not the a-hole. Forcing kids to bond through shared activities they don't want only causes resentment, not connection. Your ex sounds less like a co-parent and more like a project manager pitching team bonding exercises. You're not a villain for taking your own kid to a movie without running it by the dad's step family integration schedule. If anything, you're the only one actually listening to what your son wants instead of trying to force a sitcom plot arc. It's wild he thinks you need permission. Kids should have fun, not obligations. Which really doesn't make any sense. Why is she supposed to ask before each and every activity, instead of the dad just telling her, "Hey, I'm already planning to do XYZ with the kid. Can you please do something else?" Why isn't that the obvious solution here? Next story. Am I the a-hole for refusing to speak to my brother's fiancée after revealing her parenting methods? My brother Tom, 34 male, recently got engaged to Melissa, 32 female, who has a 6-year-old son, Dylan. Last weekend, I, 29 female, was babysitting Dylan while they went out for dinner. Dylan was playing with some toys when he accidentally broke a glass figurine. He immediately started crying and said, "Please don't tell my mom. She'll give me the quiet time." I asked what quiet time meant, and Dylan explained that when he misbehaves, Melissa makes him kneel facing a wall for an hour, sometimes longer if he cries or moves. If he speaks, she adds more time. This shocked me, but I kept calm and told him accidents happen. When Tom and Melissa returned, I told Tom privately what Dylan had shared. Tom defended her, saying I don't understand parenting and that Dylan is dramatic. He claimed it's just a time out, and that I'm overreacting. I later confronted Melissa directly, telling her I thought her quiet time punishment was excessive and potentially abusive. She completely flipped out, saying I had no right to question her parenting when I don't have kids. She accused me of trying to sabotage their relationship and twisting a child's words. Now my entire family is divided. My parents think I should apologize for overstepping, while my sister agrees with me that the punishment sounds problematic. Tom is demanding I apologize to Melissa before their wedding. I refuse to apologize for speaking up about something that seems wrong to me. Making a child kneel silently for extended periods doesn't seem like appropriate discipline. But now I'm uninvited from their wedding and causing family drama. Am I the a-hole for refusing to let this go and apologize? An hour on his knees? As a mom myself, I am horrified. Also, he accidentally broke something and started crying because he was scared of his mom. So no overreaction there. Giving children a timeout? Okay, but not for an hour, and not on his knees for goddamn. Thank you. I was shocked too when Dylan explained it. His fear of her reaction to an accident broke my heart. I'm still trying to figure out how to stay involved in his life despite the wedding drama. It's concerning when a child feels fear over a simple mistake. That's not normal. This is the bit that's telling. Other people might have a point that a child doesn't know how long an hour is, but the thought of a proper time out, like 6 minutes, wouldn't provoke a genuinely terrified response. His response is the bit I'd raise with CPS. Not the a-hole. Report it to social services, please. This is abuse. Just to clarify, social services will not take a child away for this. They will come by and talk to her, and if she needs it, get her someone to come by regularly to help her learn the tools to parent her kid without abuse. I've considered reporting this. It's scary to take that step with family, but Dylan's well-being comes first. Thank you for explaining what social service might actually do. That helps. Next story. Am I the a-hole for not playing an active role in the lives of my dad's future stepkids? My dad raised me, 20 male, on his own. He was single the whole time after my mom left when I was still a baby. He started dating someone after I moved out. Her name's Jessa, and she has 4 younger kids under 7. Jessa and my dad moved in together last August, and they're getting married this August. I met them when I went back home for Christmas, but I didn't spend a lot of time with them. I was more focused on spending time with my dad. Apparently, Jessa has been frustrated ever since that I don't play any kind of active role in her kids' lives. My grandparents mentioned that she and Dad were bickering about it. Dad reminded her I was grown, in college, and focusing on my future. She was even more frustrated when I didn't offer to babysit the kids, so Dad and Jessa could go on their honeymoon. She's talked about how I should at least call and get to know her kids that way and make an effort to do something for their birthdays. She wants me to play the role of a brother, and she's talked about how disinterested I appear to be in her kids. The truth is, I am. These kids will be around, so I'll be nice to them when I move close to home after graduation. But I'm not planning to take on the role of a brother. Being nice is just a given, but the age gap is huge, and I'm used to being an only child. My grandparents told me that's all anyone would expect of me, but I can see Jessa isn't. Apparently, Dad's okay with it. He never pressured me to spend time with his future stepkids, and he's not mad at me. Am I the a-hole, though? Not the a-hole. She's not looking to you for an older brother. She wants free childcare. She can buzz right off. Exactly this. Also, expecting someone you barely know to babysit your kids is so weird. For multiple days, no less. Long enough for a honeymoon. Her audacity is truly something straight out a comic book. Very silly. You owe her not a damn thing, OP, and don't stress it. Go on and live your life. Secondly, it is every parent's obligation to take care of their kids. And so if your dad raised you alone even as a single parent, it is commendable, yes. But don't hold it over yourself as though you now owe him strongly for performing his duty as your father. Live your life and stand in for your own kids, just as Dad has laid you a fine example. You're the a-hole. You care about your dad, and your dad cares about Jessa, and it's quite reasonable that she wants her kids to feel more connected to the family of their new dad. It's no great hardship to get to know them and babysit them every now and then. Even if it's a bit of a time drain, everyone will appreciate it, your dad included. At the absolute minimum, it's a talking point on dates. They're strangers. I met them once. I know nothing about them or their mom, really. We'll be family through marriage in August, but that doesn't mean I'll be a free babysitter for the kids. My dad has been defending me, apparently, and doesn't expect it. Last story. Am I the a-hole for refusing to do my boyfriend's laundry after he told his mom I don't do anything around the house? So, I, 26 female, live with my boyfriend, 28 male. We've been together for 3 years, living together for 1. We both work full-time, but I also cook, clean, do laundry, grocery shop, handle bills, and take care of our cat. He'll sometimes take out the trash or wash a dish, but that's about it. I've brought it up before, and he says he'll try to do more, but never really follows through. Last weekend, we visited his parents for dinner. Out of nowhere, his mom says to me, "So, what do you actually do around the house?" My son says you're not really the domestic type. I literally just blinked at her. I laughed awkwardly and said, "Well, if by not domestic you mean I do everything, then sure." She didn't even laugh. He looked embarrassed but didn't say a single word to defend me. On the way home, I asked him what's that about, and he said, "I just meant you don't really enjoy housework." Dude, who does? I was mad. He apologized lightly and said it was just a joke. So I decided to take a little break from his laundry. I stopped doing his clothes completely. Didn't say a word, just folded mine and left his in the basket. A week passed, then 2. I could see his pile growing. Finally, he asked, "Are you mad again or something? You haven't done my laundry." I just said, "I thought you said I don't do anything around the house, so I figured I'd live up to the label." Now he's saying I'm being petty and immature. And even his mom texted me saying I should let it go already. I told her I'd be happy to let it go, right into the washing machine with the rest of his responsibilities. Am I the a-hole? Oh, did the little cum bubble cry to mommy about his funky laundry pile? Bet his yeasty skid-marked undies could crawl away on their own. Such a big boy. The first time his freaking mom ever said crap to me, I would dump his butt. He's obviously a mommy's boy and has some growing up to do. Yep, and OP should send him back home to his mom so she can finish raising him. You want a man OP, not a man-child. Yeah, I've been married 30 years. This is BS and I am so glad mine hubby isn't a POS like this. Dump him. Are you seriously this much of a doormat? He told his mommy you don't do anything around the house, then expects you to do his laundry anyway. Now you're asking if you're the a-hole? Why are you still with him? He is too immature for a relationship. Leave and let his mother do his laundry. I can't get over the text from his mom. He told his mommy on her. That's nuts.